This is the Honda Hornet 750. If the word overachiever was a motorcycle, I think this would be it. It's faster, has more features, and is more refined than any of its competitors. Oh yeah, and it's cheaper than them too. So what's the catch? Does it fall short anywhere? Or are we back to seeing Honda setting the gold standard? I'm gonna get this bike out on the road, on track, and back here in the studio to give you a comprehensive breakdown in today's video. I bought this bike with my own funds and I'm giving it away to a lucky member in the audience. Head over to my website, yammynoob.co, or hit the link in the description to learn how you can get entered to win. Now, let's swing a leg and go for a ride. All right, boys. Honda Hornet CB750. It's a nice looking little motorcycle, huh? The Euro boys got this one first and I was pretty darn jealous. Swinging a leg. Man, it's a real standard feeling sort of motorcycle. This new 650, 700-ish cc, Japanese, new age UJM category. Pretty well defined, nice and comfortable, very standard seating position. Let's see if Honda got the engine right. 755cc parallel twin, 270 crank. Let's start her up, huh? Well, that sounds pretty good. Throttle's nice and snappy. Pulling away, gearbox feels very precise, very Honda-like, but everything else does not feel Honda-like, and I think that's a big compliment to this machine. I think this thing is a ton of fun, and I think you and I are going to get along and be friends. I think me and this bike are going to be friends, baby. So, 90-ish horsepower, 50-something foot-pounds of torque, 755cc motor. Feeling great on the side of the tire, very agile. This section is fun because we can actually change our line and avoid those manholes and check to see how capable the chassis is, and this is a very capable little chassis. I'm very impressed with this motorcycle right off the rip. And I talk about this a lot, where the engines on a motorcycle are truly where the wheat is separated from the chaff. That's really where you see a manufacturer shine. And for years, Honda did not give us anything very exciting in the parallel twin category. These snooze fest 180-degree parallel twins, all of the NC750 or the CBR 500R. I'd kind of given up on Honda, man. I was like, you know what? Well-executed motorcycles, but very boring machines. But man, right off the bat, guys, they knocked it out of the park with this bike. This bike's great. What's so great about it? It's a blend of chassis and engine that's just damn near perfect on this thing, all bundled together with Honda's build quality. This bike feels perfect to ride. Every control input is exactly what I would want. I dial in the brakes there, I pick it up on the corner. It's just perfect. I can adjust the line anywhere I want. I mean, do you really need anything else for a fun street naked bike? I'm not really sure. This is a formula that KTM was kind of doing many years ago at the 790s. Yamaha really pioneered this category. But honest to God, I think Honda's just perfected it. I think everybody else can just go home now. Listen to that thing. Listen to it on the over rev. Auto blip is perfect. Comes standard with quick shifter up and down. There's a lot to like here, man. It's comfortable enough to ride on the daily. It's just a really sweet bike. You guys see what I did there? Flashing high beam, slowing down. See that car coming. Gotta be safe, boys. So it's a short stroke engine. We're going to get into the studio and give you guys all the very detailed specifications, but this motor is a rever. It doesn't have a lot of low-end punch, but honestly, because the motor is a little bit bigger than the other things we've seen in this category, it just has this smooth, progressive power that's super rewarding to use between kind of like 4,000 and 8,000 RPM. It behaves much more like a traditional sport bike would, and that it kind of coaxes you to use the power a little bit. It kind of says, come on, pick up the throttle a little bit, exercise a little bit of that fun factor on this thing. And it's exactly what I want to do with it. All I want to do with this bike is just squeeze the throttle just a little bit more. So agile, super fun. It's the type of motorcycle that I didn't think Honda could build, honestly, and certainly not at this price point. $7,999 for this machine is just phenomenal. This is a lot of bike for the money. And I think that if you're looking at this kind of like 80 to 100-ish horsepower category, this has to be top of your list, bang for buck wise, man. This is an unbelievable bike. I don't mean to glaze this bike too hard, but this is a fantastic motorcycle. It's got a beautiful, easy to read TFT display. I switched it over to the black mode here. Why would you ever use light mode on anything? Comment down below and please agree with me. If you're a light mode user on your Honda, please just exit the video right now. We do not need that kind of energy for today. Super crisp, easy to read. I've talked about Kawasaki's display before, where I think it's the gold standard. This is all I need right here. Flat, simple, easy to read, rev counter up top, speedo in the middle, gear right over there. I have some extra features. I've got a readout for fuel over here. I believe there's a way to get it to say how much range you have left. I have real-time fuel. I can dial in a couple things over here. Different rider modes as well. We have street, rain, sport, and 2 assigned user modes. I'm in my preferred user mode over here because I wanted to turn traction control off so that I could do a couple wheelies and stuff. This comes equipped with a very simple ignition-based traction control system. This is not something that is going to be having a 6-axis IMU or anything crazy like that. Let's go ahead and get around this vehicle right here. Have some fun with the Hornet, because this is a fun bike, man. This is exactly what this bike wants to do. Handling the bumps decently well. I'm about 175 pounds. I get really lucky that most of the bikes I test are sprung very well for my weight. Look at the precision I have over the front end. Oh my goodness, this is a good motorcycle. That's fun, man. Super fun. For years, I've been saying that the MT-07 was the gold standard. It had that je ne sais quoi. It was a little sloppy, right? Like, I always wanted Yamaha to tighten up the MT-07, and they did, right? They made the new one. The price is still a bit too high relative to this thing, and I don't think it's as refined as this motorcycle. And this engine is better than the MT-07, and this chassis is more refined. It's not as lightweight and it's not as pokey. The MT-07's a little bit more, you know, on its nose, so to speak. But this thing's stable, it's predictable, reliable. Just a super nice motorcycle. Big bump right there, avoid it. Gonna listen to it sing. Oh, it loves going out to red line. That's that short stroke motor. And what's great is you can get these things flashed and make damn near 100 horsepower to the crank. I think people are getting like 90 something to the tire with this platform. And so at that point, you're kind of like, you know, 210 660 who, right? Like, this is plenty good enough for something like that, man. Now, the 210 660 is lighter, it's more sporty, it's more of that, you know, razor sharp motorcycle. But this thing really is well sorted, man. I literally can ride this bike as fast as I want on street, and it still feels like it has a ton more performance left over. All the inputs feel excellent. The build quality is excellent. Man, it's, you know, you ride a motorcycle like this and you think, where's it gonna let me down? Where is the fault in it? And honestly, it's street pace, and I've been riding around this bike, commuting back and forth. It does everything it needs to do. It does everything it needs to do, and it excels in places you wouldn't expect. The braking feel, despite having what looks to be a relatively simple master cylinder, radial mounted brakes, a setup very similar to what is on the new MT-07. This is pretty standard stuff in the category. They're very sharp, they're very precise, they're dialed in very well, just right from the factory. It just has a lot of braking performance. As you squeeze the lever, you get an equal amount of, you know, extra braking force in the front. The front suspension is set up such that you You feel the front collapse and compress, and you understand what's happening with the front tire really, really well with this bike, and you feel like you always have margin to play with. I mean, you guys saw back there when I was cruising those twisties, I can avoid and quickly chop up different manhole lines and covers. Like, I don't have to wonder if this bike is going to take care of me or what it's going to do. Just a supremely well executed motorcycle. However, you know, in fun twisty roads like this, in the street, there's only so much you can do. Let's jump over to the track and see how this bike performs. Maybe it'll start falling apart a little bit. Alrighty, here we go. On the Hornet CB750, on track, into the braking zone, and impressions are good, folks. Honda's built a really sweet little bike. This is like a little budget Duke 790 or something, man, with all the Honda reliability. What's not to like? Look how much feel I have over the brakes. Well, I guess you can't see that, but I can feel it. I can tell you about it, because that's how YouTube videos work, right? I have a lot of precision over this bike. This short stroke engine is so willing. Honestly, it makes me wish that Honda makes some sort of R7 competitor, because this bike's got the chops, baby. This bike is so willing, I can't even believe it. You know, this category, this kind of 650 class, for the longest time, these bikes were, you know, very much street bikes. If you took them on track or rode them in any kind of sporty way, they started to fall apart. But boy, oh boy, these fundamentals are incredible. Listen to that motor. This thing is spicy, man. Picking up here full gas. On the brakes, guided through. What a beautiful machine, dude. I'm having a lot of fun with this thing. As far as I can tell, all the fundamentals are super dialed in. The throttle feels great. It's not statchy at all. I have a lot of precision over the brakes. Got into the braking zone. Down 2 gears. Guided through a little wider line there. We'll carry it wide open here. Pick it up. Dragging hard parts a little bit, as you heard back there. I think I forgot to remove the hero blobs on the pegs, but that's okay. Man, it's just like a really beautiful little chassis. Really willing little motorcycle. Super fun to hustle around this carousel here. Let the apex come to us over here. Guide it through on the outside. And look at it go! We're flying on the Honda. So last session was my first time out on this bike, and I couldn't quite keep up with my buddy on a prepped R3, but Jeremy's pretty quick. But I was hanging with the guy on a little S1000RR as a coach passes me by here on, as you guys saw, a significantly faster motorcycle. Believe he's on a higher spec tire than my OE Dunlop over here. Come on, let's see if we can hang with him. We'll play it safe in this braking zone here. I could have passed these guys, but I didn't want to write checks that these tires can't cash. What's this in front of us? A Gixxer 750 or something like that? Feel the might of the Honda, baby! On the outside, come on! The chassis is so stable side to side. The thing I can compare this bike to the most, because I have the most experience with it, I recently took a Yamaha MT-07 out here this year, and man, I can tell you this bike is better. This bike's got a way better engine, much more willing at the top end of the register. The 160 at the rear gives it a lot of flicking and stability for this chassis. I would have thought that a 180 would have been necessary, but honestly, it's pretty good. Little R6 with some race numbers. Come on, Yam. Come on, Yam! Can we close them down here? I'm really asking a lot out of this little CB750. In the brakes a little bit, okay. All right, you guys are just racing with me now. Gotta get him with the corner speed on OE tires. Yeah, I hung with him for a sector at least. Not gonna get him here, he's gonna get me. Maybe the braking zone again. Come on, little Honda! Come on! Oh, ABS. ABS there. Lever was pumping. It said, don't do it, don't tip in. So it lets you make mistakes, it lets you have some fun, it lets you hang it out a little bit. Dude, it's a really good bike. If you were to put like a Supercourse SP on this thing, you could embarrass a lot of people bone stock. On a stock CB750, man, that would be a tall order. He's a good 3 seconds up the road. That's a big bridge to gap. The red mist is coming out. Gotta channel my inner Mark Marquez. Come on! Come on, baby! Dragging some parts. Guide it through, wide open. Catch the downshift on the way over to the left. Over the paint. All the way out, carry a deeper line. Hook it in tight, get in, get out. Yam, come on, get in, get out. As you guys see, I'm starting to get a little bit more aggressive with it. The front suspension starting to fall apart a little bit. I'm seeing a lot of motion, I'm feeling a lot of motion. So that's nothing that a cartridge kit can't fix, you know? You dial this bike in a little bit. Look at that, the auto flipper's so good. It bangs down like a race bike. Oop, that does not feel like a race bike. Wide open there through the middle. Carry it down, modulate the brakes, pick the line, beautifully done. Tighten it up a little bit here. Dude, it's really good. And I could do this all damn day. I could do like 50 laps on this bike if I wanted to. I'm out of shape right now. I got the dad bod going on. And I literally could ride this bike for an hour, no problem. Dude, it's so good. What the heck? An $8,000 street bike has no business being this good. What on earth? Honda, dude, hats off to all the engineers. Built a super fun motorcycle. Look at that, wide open in third, catching fourth gear onto the apex. Beautiful. Can tighten up the line. I got no complaints, baby. Maybe a little bit more power at the top, but who doesn't want that? Come on now. Come on now. All right, boys, what do you say we get back to the shop and go over the details, huh?
Back in the mid-2000s, Honda sold the 599 and 919 Hornets here in the US. These were middleweight naked bikes that were fun, light, and perfectly straightforward. In Europe, the Hornet badge carried even more weight, serving as the go-to street naked bikes for riders who didn't want the full-blown CBR but still wanted something with teeth. Honda finally brought the newest iteration of the Hornet across the pond. The 2025 CB750 was obviously gunning straight for the Yamaha MT-07 and Suzuki GSX-8S. And if you haven't gathered by now, this bike is not your typical Honda safe. It's Honda spicy. At the core of the CB750 is a 755cc parallel twin, and this is where the magic really starts with this bike. This is not Honda phoning it in. They've had the last decade to make a power plant that doesn't just simply compare to Yamaha's famed CP2, but practically blows it out of the water. This engine is a compact, lightweight unit with a 270-degree crank, which means you get that classic offbeat, grumbly character rather than the sewing machine buzz that sleepy twins used to be known for. This bike puts down 90 horsepower and 55 foot-pounds of torque, which is some serious punch for a bike that weighs in at just 422 pounds wet. It'll happily rev all the way out to 10,000 RPM and performs in a way that feels eager and almost mischievous, downright un-Honda-esque. But it's not peaky or hollow down low either. Thanks to that displacement and the clever bore-and-stroke ratio, it pulls confidently in traffic, making the Honda usable, fun, and hell, exotic by Honda standards. This engine is special thanks in part to Honda's Unicam system. Borrowed from their motocross program, it keeps the cylinder head compact and light while allowing generous valve sizes. Honda's own words describe it as combining lightweight design with superior power delivery and reliability. Add in patented vortex air ducts feeding those 46mm throttle bodies, and you've got a sharp throttle response and a free revving twin that begs to be wrung out. In a class where Yamaha's CP2 engine has been the absolute benchmark, Honda's given us a motor that not only competes, but sets a new standard. Tuners like Two Wheel Dyno Works are already seeing really big tuning gains from this platform too. If you want to get a good sound out of this without having to do a whole aftermarket system, here's a fun fact. You can easily pop out the spark arrestor in the stock muffler by removing 3 bolts. Whether it was intentional or not, it is a pretty nice Easter egg with this platform. You don't need to spend any money. Literally just unbolt it and it sounds awesome. The engine's great, but Honda didn't stop there. They also put a lot of legwork to make the chassis one that not only rivals middleweight twins from the rest of the big four, but even outperforms existing bikes in Honda's own lineup and starts to look almost European in the way that it handles. The steel diamond frame weighs just 36.6 pounds, which is lighter than the CB650R's frame by almost 5 pounds. Honda optimized wall thickness, shape, and rigidity balance so that the Hornet feels planted yet flickable. Geometry checks out at a 25 degrees of rake and 3.9 inches of trail and a 55.9 inch wheelbase. It does a really great job of splitting the difference between the super light and steep MT-07 and the heavy and stable GSX 8S. At the front, you've got Showa 41mm separate function forks where one leg handles damping and the other handles the spring, which makes the fork more responsive and predictable. And out back, a Pro Link style shock with 7-stage preload adjustment, and both ends offer 5.1 inches of travel, which provides plenty of room to soak up uneven road surfaces or speed bumps. The whole package tips the scales at 422 pounds wet and ready to ride. It's about 20 pounds heavier than the less powerful MT-07, but a whopping 20 pounds lighter than the GSX 8S. Just like the geometry, the Hornet sits right in the sweet spot. It's light enough to be playful and eager to dip in, yet it's stable enough to feel confident at higher speeds and wide sweepers. Honda made an interesting call when it came to the tire size on this bike. Instead of slapping on a 180 rear like the MT-07 or the GSX wears, the Hornet actually has a 160/60/17 rear tire paired with the classic 120/70/17 up front. A narrower tire gives a more triangular profile, which sharpens the turn-in and makes the bike feel really light on its feet. A 160 is also lighter and cheaper, reducing unsprung weight and rotational mass. And that means the suspension actually reacts a little bit quicker and the engine feels a little snappier, delivering power. Of course, that does come with trade-offs. A 160 doesn't look serious in Instagram photos and it won't offer all the way that final little bit of grip that you want at your local track days, but for a street bike designed for fun and practicality, it might just be the smarter choice. Yamaha's MT-07 feels a bit more planted mid-corner with its 180, but it's also a little bit heavier to steer. The Hornet feels sharper, easier to throw around, and like Honda wanted this to ride like a giant 500 and not a baby 1000. Despite the incredibly modest price point of only $8,000, the Hornet comes really highly equipped. It has an up and down quick shifter with adjustable sensitivity if you're partial to a lighter or heavier lever feel. It's equipped with 3 ride modes including Rain, Standard, and Sport. There's also a custom rider mode that allows you to fine-tune your own preferences. Power, engine braking, and traction control all have 3 degrees of adjustability with wheelie control baked in. These menus are easily navigated with the handlebar switch and the 5-inch TFT dash, which looks great. Compared to how bare bones the MT-07 was just up until the very latest model year, this is spaceship level stuff. Even with the most current update, the MT-07 still feels a little under-equipped when compared to the Hornet, and that's kind of inexcusable given that it's been around for 10 years. The Hornet styling leans into the culture of Europeans' Street Fighter style motorcycles. It's svelte, compact, and purposeful. The dual LED projector headlight sits low and aggressive, giving its own face within Honda's naked bike lineup. I think it looks pretty sweet. Developed by Honda's R&D team in Rome, it's clearly aimed at younger riders who want something sharp without breaking the bank. It's also the spiritual successor to the old Hornets. Taut lines, minimal bodywork, and a Hornet-like silhouette. I mean, the rear end looks great too. The CB750 Hornet effectively sets itself apart from the competition. It uses a super rev-happy, characterful parallel twin combined with a light but solid chassis. Little details like the 160-degree rear tire or the Unicam system prove Honda was incredibly thoughtful during this bike's development. The premium electronics just sweeten the deal, and there are thoughtful features put into this motorcycle. And they prove when you've got money like Honda does, you can take risks and over-deliver on an incredibly affordable motorcycle. Honda's built something that feels familiar, yet fresh and competitive in the most hotly contested segment in motorcycling. We've often given Honda a lot of flack on this channel for being soulless or too expensive, or ultimately just a little lackluster. I've panned the CBR500R for years now. It was my favorite whipping boy, as the example I always gave when someone tried to defend what Honda was doing. And I'd sit there and wonder, man, it's a 471cc parallel twin with a 180 crank that costs 7,400 bucks? That stinks. I can tell you with full confidence and honesty that Honda has knocked this new Hornet 750 out of the park. Honda is firmly back in the conversation and has made the absolute class-leading motorcycle in this segment. The Hornet 750 is the new benchmark. It's the bike we must measure against all who dare take its throne. This is an unbeatable price point. This bike is only 600 bucks more than that aforementioned CBR500R. It's got a super exciting engine that sounds wicked, especially when you pull the spark arrestor. The chassis is sublime and has no right handling as well as it can. The componentry feels solid, it's beautifully executed in the way that only Honda can. Typically, you'd ride a Honda and you'd say, it's expensive, but it makes sense. Feel how nice it is. It's incredible that they were able to get this bike to feel as good as it does, costing as little as it does. Never doubt Big Red, I guess. If you look really close, you can tell where corners were cut, but honestly, this bike is $8,000. It is so good at this price. It's a great size too, fitting a wide variety of riders and feeling immediately comfortable and familiar when you swing a leg. The Honda Hornet 750 might as well be a mousetrap. It's a perfect solution to a problem upon which there can be no improvement. What else would you really need? It takes a lot for me to sing a bike's praises this much, but the Hornet 750 really is a revelation. It does virtually nothing wrong, and every feature feels thoughtfully added and works perfectly. If this is the direction that Honda is going in, well, count me in as a true believer. This new age of UJM is awesome right now, with bikes like the GSX 8S offering a larger, more stable ride akin to the old water buffalo Suzukis, or the angular and agile MT-07 with its ultra low weight and short wheelbase. The Honda arrives by splitting the difference between the two, yet it plays one very important party trick. The engine is miles ahead of both of those other bikes. It's Honda reverting back to its roots, building phenomenal engines. The big question for me is, Yamaha and Suzuki have cross-platformed these new age UJMs into fully fared bikes like the R7 and GSX 8R. Will Honda follow suit? There's a golden opportunity here to create a slightly more sporty variant with the Hornet 750. I think resurrecting the Hawk namesake would be awesome, and it would decimate sales of both of those machines because the 755cc mill found in this bike has a real short stroke character and fun nature about it. Hell, it might even beat out RS660 sales too. It's a really exciting time for Honda. With bikes like the Hornet 1000, Transalp, and now this 750, they are doing all the right things. Welcome back, Honda. Time for you to sit at the throne as the rightful king of Japanese motorcycles. We're gonna rate this bike for the first time here on Yami Noob a 10 out of 10. I truly believe this bike is basically perfect and accomplishes its mission statement with an unbelievable level of refinement, poise, and fun. It really is that good. Thanks for checking out today's comprehensive review. What do you think of the bike? We're really excited to feature it here on Yami Noob as a giveaway bike, so make sure you head to the website, click the link down below, and get your chances locked and loaded to win this bike. I'll catch you in the next one. See you later.